your martial arts movie podcast.
I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Featuring drunken Thai boxer Will.
Too bad you will die.
The also drunken wrestler Mark.
I said I don't want trouble.
And drunken karate master Zero.
You've lost your balls.
And now,
I know Kung Fu. You know, baby.
Fists of Fail.
Today, we're on the theme of a bunch of people trapped inside a building who are waiting their impending doom and death and despair, and they don't know when they're gonna be escaping.
He's just kidding. We're actually talking
Sounds about
about
right.
We're also watching The Raid today. Yeah, that's totally what we're doing. Out of all the doom and gloom that's happening right now, I'm glad that we can finally talk about this. Something that's happy. It's not a happy movie. No, but it's by far not a happy movie. But it is an awesome movie, and it kind of lifts my spirits up. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this actually, and I remember when I first saw it, I enjoyed it, but I kind of forgot about it. And so watching it again, I was just really surprised that I had those initial feelings because I really like this second time around watching it.
Okay. So, what are we talking about?
Marantau, Part 3.
I thought you said it already.
Do we?
Marantau
No, look,
2.
listen. The quarantine's starting to get to me. All right, my short-term memory's not what it used to be. Yes, we were talking about The Raid.
We're watching
today.
We're watching Contagion.
Another one of Gareth Evans. Well, Gareth Evans' second. Oh, geez, yeah. Everything's coronavirus related.
Yeah.
Hey, we're supposed to take the listeners away from the doom and gloom right now.
Don't you want to see Gwyneth Paltrow die?
Let's stay on point. So, you mean the movie?
Yeah.
So yeah, the Raid. Anyways, The Raid. It's Gareth Evans and Iko Uwai's second foray into the martial arts martial arts movie genre, and this completely makes Marantau obsolete, in my opinion. Especially after watching Marantau last time with you, Zero.
I don't know if I would say it makes it obsolete. It's just, it's the next step in their evolution of filmmaker and actor / martial artist, and it's just better. I wouldn't say like never watch Marantau, just watch this. But
Marantau is far more boring.
It's
far more safe.
Yeah, it's funny in the
and somehow it has a rape scene in it, which I don't know.
Right. Well, I was gonna say,
Anyways.
if you watch the making of, Gareth Evans actually touches on that, how he was saying that in Marantau they were intentionally trying to build the drama and build the character so that when the action happens later, you care about him and whatnot. But he's like, for this one he just wanted to get right into it, make things as very clear as possible for what the setup is, and then just have all the action constantly happening.
Yeah, this movie's relentless.
It really is.
Yeah.
The pacing in this movie is really, really good. That was something I noticed this time around, like the pacing and the editing. There were only like a few moments where I felt a lull, but it made sense because you can't have nonstop action all the time. You need that kind of slow down sometimes to let the characters do their thing, let your eyes breathe from all the action. So yeah, the pacing on this was almost perfect.
Especially when you watch it.
That's true. The pacing is really good.
Sorry, especially when you watch it 2.5 times the speed.
What's up? That's totally what you did, right? That's not what
Maybe.
That's what you're saying. That's not what you did.
Sure.
better not. Well, okay, yeah. The pacing is it's not like it's frenetic, right? It's it's very well established in terms of like the speed of the movie. But it's like there's a constant intensity to the film that like never lets up.
Yes,
and that's what I like about this movie.
Right. It's just, I mean, it's such a simple story, but the script is really sharp in that it sets up the stakes. You know how dire their situation is, and then you're just sitting back and waiting to see how they deal with it and if they can really get out of it.
Yeah. Well, I made that really bad joke in the beginning, but I mean, what is the story even? It's just very simple. It's like, let's take the concept, like almost like the concept of what Die Hard established, which was like a bunch of people. We had one cop in in one building trying to take down a bunch of bad guys, but now we have a whole squad of SWAT soldiers or whatever, or SWATs, and they all get taken down one by one, and it's just in the end it becomes like one versus many.
I wouldn't say. Well, I mean, yeah, you could kind of say one versus many because it's mainly Eco doing a lot of the fighting, but there's some other guys holding their own as well. It really is. When I was watching this, I couldn't stop thinking how Gareth Evans made a martial arts movie and also like a war film. Like I was getting that feeling a lot because a lot of the fighting was, while there was martial arts in it, it was used very brutally. There's just a lot of intent to kill, a lot of intent to harm, and there's just this struggle to survive, and you feel that throughout the whole film.
Yeah, that brutality that you just mentioned is heightened to like the nth degree in this movie. It's so much more than Marantau. Marantau definitely was more on the safer side compared to this. Like now Gareth Evans has established that trademark violence that Indonesian films are kind of synonymous for now. Because if you watch any Indonesian martial arts films now, it's just nonstop gore and like bloodshed and mayhem.
It's weird because it works perfectly well for this because everyone is literally trying not to die, and so in order to take out their assailants, they have to literally kill them. It's not like it's not like a normal martial arts movie where you're like, oh, I'm just going to punch you and you're down. It's like, no, these people are trying to kill me. We have to kill them first. And so that's where you get a lot of these very brutal takedowns. And it works. It works perfectly well for this movie. But when I think about the other Indonesian films, like they don't have this same premise. Sometimes they're just fighting, but then they still have that gore. They still have that blood. And for me personally, there's a disconnect. Yeah.
I mean, even in the second one, which I don't know if we should talk about this too extensively, there's like there's a reasoning or justification for having that level of violence for that second one, because it takes place in a much more expansive environment, but for the amount of violence that's happening to the main character, it's understandable why he needs to retaliate with the same level of like brutality against his assailants as well. So like it's this great universe that Gareth Evans has like set up, but for better or for worse, he kind of paved the way for how Indonesian martial arts films are made from like this point on.
Yeah, he really did set the path. But yeah, I mean they're doing their thing now. They've set themselves apart from the other martial arts films.
Yeah, but I think it's more like whatever Gareth Evans has with Iko Uwais is like a lightning in a bottle effect. I have a respect for Iko, but I've noticed that when he's not paired with Gareth, his projects aren't always the best. Ergo, Wu Assassins.
Oh God, yeah, I completely agree with that, and we touched on this in the Marantau episode. I do not like Wu Assassins. I want you to sit through it so you can know my pain.
well, I have all the time in the world now, so I guess I can.
You really should.
But that's also the case.
Or if it's not Wu Assassins,
It's also the case with
What's
a
up?
triple threat. Like he's not even like he's supposed to be the main character, but he's not at all. Like Scott Adkins is more of a main character, even though he's a freaking antagonist. And,
He's the bad guy.
he's the villain.
Well, I think if anything in that movie, Tony Jaa really was the main character, but the driving story arc was Iko trying to get revenge for his wife.
And that's a whole nother
Unfortunate.
thing that just gave me flashbacks.
Like this is the raid. Right. Well, I think that drives the point across is that we have so many movies or directors and all these productions that don't really know how to utilize Iko correctly. Because watching Marantau, you can see like a small hint of what Iko is capable of, but not nearly as good as the raid portrays him. Like he is great on screen, like physicality to him. He knows how to hit his choreography so well and make it look as violent as possible, which I absolutely love. He makes Silat look like a very effective kind of martial arts, but that just might be. Well, I mean, him and Yayan were responsible for the choreography for these films, right? So they know how to make Silat look as efficient as possible. And that's one thing I like about that. So like you just need to have all the stars aligned to make sure that Iko looks good on screen. So when we have all these productions out there that don't know how to use Iko, it's like such a waste of time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Man, you kind of ruined something for me though, because you brought it up in the Marantau episode, and now I can't unsee it.
Oh, the
basically, anytime Iko is about to get into a fight before he's going to throw a strike, he does this circular motion with his left and right arm, almost like he's losing balance, but he's not. I can't unsee it. Every fight he does it, and I'm just like, what are you doing? What is that?
He needs to reassess the situation. He needs to feel out the room, literally. He's clearing out the air for COVID.
It's like he farted and he's just trying to waft away the fumes so no one smells it.
Fan it away. I don't know. I fucking love this movie regardless of like all the nitpicking I can possibly do with this movie. Because it is what people say about like Ong Bak, what like Ong Bak did for Thai films. I'd say that very easily the Raid did for Indonesian films.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah. Let's jump right into the first fight scene, which doesn't happen for 40 minutes, technically, right?
Well, so the interesting thing is, like, that's fine that the action doesn't happen. Well, the first fight doesn't happen for a while because they just build so much freaking tension with the opening that the whole time, like, your eyes really are just locked on the screen. Like, you're waiting to see this group, kind of like a SWAT team, go into this building. You're seeing them ascend. You're seeing them slowly take out guards, and then you can see how it all starts to fall apart and how the tide turns against them, and they're all just slowly being decimated. And it's a lot of action in the beginning too. Like, there are hints of moves and kicks and punches being thrown in there, but it's mainly everybody using their weapons. And that's fine because it's extremely action oriented, and that's why I mentioned earlier it reminded me of a war film, because it's just two sides constantly shooting at each other behind cover, things exploding, things like just coming at your face. Yeah. And then eventually we get into like more hand-to-hand stuff, because realistically everyone is kind of out of ammunition.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a martial arts movie.
I was going to say that.
Beginning,
the whole point was Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's the first 40 minutes is just to set up, like, well, these people with guns are gonna just keep shooting at each other. Like, how on earth can this turn into a fisticuffs movie? Well, we gotta establish that. We gotta make sure that the audience knows that they tried using all their weapons, and now everyone's out of ammo. So now it becomes a fisticuffs movie.
Yes. I mean, they did it right. Like, it would have been weird if the whole time they're kind of doing John Wick, where they're doing guns in between, like doing takedowns. Like, it wouldn't have worked at all for this movie. But thankfully, yes, they use up all their ammunition, and now they just have to fight with whatever they have.
Yeah. Well, I guess the first real instance of we get where we're actually doing some sort of like physicality is before the first technical fight scene. It's when they're locked inside this room, and people are shooting at them, or like trying to barge into the room as well, where the cops are hiding. And Iko takes a hatchet, starts slashing at the floor to try to open up this hole in the ground. And they burrow through. Well, they go underneath the hole, and they get to the second level. And there's this great shot that you get here where while they're on the top level, the camera gets passed down to the bottom level.
That's really fun. Yeah, because they literally had the cameraman, put the camera into the hole, and then somebody on the bottom like takes it and then continues the shot. So it's like you're right there with them.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of this is just like people bum rushing the main characters. One of the Mark, you would probably know this, not lieutenant, but someone who's underneath the level of lieutenant, whoever Joe Taslim played, the one who played Jaka.
Oh God, the names! You expect me to remember the names?
Yeah. Well, Iko.
No, not the ranks. I meant the actual character name.
Iko's superior. No. But no, the one who Joe Taslim plays. He doesn't have too much to do in the movie in terms of choreography, but here we get a little highlight, like little small showcase of what he can do. Like he wrestles some guys to the ground, takes out his gun, shoots him in the face a couple times. Great. Absolutely great.
Yeah, very, very short moment, and very brutal because the camera is right there as he pulls the gun out and literally starts unloading the clip into the guy's face. But it's so short. Like I wouldn't call this scene a fight scene. It really is just like an action scene.
Yeah.
When I was looking back at it, the first fight actually is the hallway fight. Like, it happens that far into the movie. That's where all the martial arts starts to take place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean like
you can
where they're all
shooting
that across from each other?
What do you mean by across?
Like when they're up on the upper
first
level
fight
and
we're
the
saying
lower
is
level?
When they're in the hallway.
Oh, when they're still arresting people.
Oh no,
and
we were
whatnot?
just talking about that one. Now we're talking. No. We're way further than that. We're like 40 minutes in now. We're talking about when.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. All of it. You're
a little behind.
All of it's so similar, especially in the beginning. To me, it's a little bit confusing because it's just like you said.
Well, let me help you out.
So quick and consistent.
Let me help you out a little bit. Mm-hmm. So now we're at that point where Iko is carrying on his brethren who got shot up, and he helps him out. But also in the meantime, he like he's getting ambushed by like a ton of people in the hallways. People with knives, with machetes and such. And this is the first real martial arts sequence here because it's just Iko versus many. And there's no gunplay at all during this whole fight sequence, and it showcases what Iko can do. Like any sequence with Iko in this movie immediately like makes up for what you could see at Marantau. And not to say Marantau is bad, but it's so much better than what they showcased there.
Yeah, it's like I keep saying, like it's the evolution of what they were trying to do in Marantau. And I think it works here a lot because they have that setup where people are trying to kill him. And the moves, I would say the moves feel a little more simple because he's not doing the choreography he's doing. It doesn't feel too complicated because he's taking out guys in maybe 2 or 3 kind of combinations, because what he has to do is on like the final blow, he has to kill them. Yep. Because they're literally trying to kill him first. So a lot of times it's him doing a block, him doing a couple maneuvers, and then he has to do like a slice to the throat, slice to the shoulder, slice to the chest to completely incapacitate them because there's more people coming. So I don't want to say the choreography is like simple in like a bad way. I'm saying that like his moves are
direct.
Yeah, exactly. They're very direct and they're to the point.
Yeah. Well, I guess like the fact that it's direct also adds to a level of violence too, because he'll do whatever it takes to incapacitate the opponent, right? So. A lot of the violence and the gore that this movie is known for, it really is highlighted here. Like when it's not even just to kill the guy, like he'll snap a guy's ankle, make the person bleed out, stab him in the thigh, and then drag that thing out. So like like you just see like it's a huge seam of blood just like pouring down his leg.
I like the stuff he was doing here. This fight was interesting to me because he was using a combination of the police baton and just like a combat knife, and he was, as he was fighting against the bad guys who had machetes. And one of the things I noticed, which I thought was a really good tactical thing, was he was constantly going for like like joints, like the knees, to really incapacitate or shock, and then to deliver those killing blows.
Yeah, for sure. But it's so, I keep saying brutal, but it's like grotesque in a way too. One thing I love about the Raid movies is that there's a good application of both digital and practical blood effects. Because sometimes it is digital, right? You can't avoid the digital effects, just because it's literally more efficient to do it that way. Yeah. But it's not distracting,
So I'm always against digital sometimes, and I understand this is an Indonesian film, so they don't have the American budget and they don't have the American special effects. That's fine. But I wish they didn't have to do that because I could see, the CGI. But yes, it's completely forgivable. I am happy that they use practical effects. When I was watching the making of, I didn't realize that they were using squibs to the amount that they did, and they were also using like things to blow like actual holes in the doors or blow holes in the car, like to simulate gunfire. I was really happy about that. I think my gripe is that because I'm seeing a lot of other digital trickery, it's taking away from those practical effects sometimes. So I wish they didn't do it. I understand that they did, but yeah, it's forgivable.
Yeah. Hey, and speaking of like using blood squibs, there could be squibs, or it could be as simple trick as in like when Iko's stabbing a guy in the chest with a knife several times. You see. First of all, I should mention that everything in this movie is well composed when it comes to the action. The best way for me to describe the action is organized chaos, right? So there is shaky cam. The camera is always shaking. It's always moving back and forth. But it's not Hollywood shaky cam where it's like, let's move the camera around where you can't see anything. Like the camera is moving, but it feels more like a person who's actually in the fray, who's actually keeping his eye focused, not a person who's like running around with his head just all over the fucking place. Right. There feels like there's chaos going on, but it's focused chaos.
Yeah. They didn't shoot handheld. They did have a rig, but the idea is the rig was still being controlled by the cameraman. You can see them doing it, but the idea is the cameraman is trying to follow the action. So his movements aren't perfect, so it is creating that shaky effect, but it's never distracting. It feels kind of like a documentary almost, like someone's literally there filming the fight.
Yeah. And well, that's adds another level to it. It's like because of that it adds that whole wartime effect that you're talking about before. But also, it's not distracting that you could where you can actually see all the blood and all the the choreography that's going on. So when you see Iko's just stabbing away at this guy, like you see 1 second he has nothing on his shirt, and the next moment you just see like all these blood like blood spots just like pooling on his shirt, indicating where the knife went in. Simple trick as in just put a little blood on put a little paint on the end of your knife, on your plastic knife, and just
ketchup packet,
tap him in the chest, and it'll create those effects. But yeah, or ketchup packet or something like that. But yeah, it's great because you get to see these things, and it's I don't know, is it a lot for me to ask to be able to see what's happening on screen? I don't know. I feel like that's a major complaint when it comes to action films.
Yeah, it is a lot to ask because you have incompetent directors, or you have a DP who doesn't know how to properly shoot a fight. So apparently it is. So I do have an unpopular opinion with this movie. I am looking, after watching it again and then going back and only watching the fights, I wasn't crazy about how they decided to stage some of the fights. And when I mean that Iko is almost never fighting more than like two people at the same time, considering that in this world they should be bum rushing him. People should just be outnumbering him because it's a building filled with bad guys. That's literally what this is. They did it right where he's only usually fighting one or two guys at the same time, but you never see people waiting in the background. Yep. They intentionally choreographed it like that. But the problem for me is, as I'm watching it, I'm seeing Iko fights this guy, takes him out. Now the next guy comes in, and then kind of rinse and repeat. And that took me out of it a little bit. Not so much because I'm still invested in him surviving as a character and the overall story. But if I just watch the fights on its own, I'm noticing that, like, oh, hey, now he turns a corner. Oh, surprise, there's this guy actually just waiting there for him.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Well, it's true, but I don't find it distracting. Yeah, I do notice it. Like, okay, well, that guy's just kind of in the background, just waiting his turn. But they kind of get away with it, and even in Marantau too, where the person who's waiting in the background isn't just waiting; they're still reeling from the pain from the last time they got hit. Mm-hmm.
I would say that in this movie, you don't have so much of that because he usually kills the person he's fighting, and then he moves on to the next one. But because the next person was off screen, then they enter once he turns around. Like for me, like I can see those things, but they frame it well so that once he's done with the one person, he just goes on to the next person.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Because when you see extras just waiting their turn, like the putties on Power Rangers, right. Yeah, it kind of takes you out of the movie. But when you don't see them, you can kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit. But I will say, in this hallway sequence, both this part and then the next part we're going to get into, I think it's more excusable because it's more narrow. So no matter how many people there can possibly be, I mean, there's only so many people. There's only so much room for that many people to bum rush one individual. And they kind of addressed this in the second Raid movie, if you remember that, when he goes in the bathroom stall. And just a whole bunch of people just like rush him at the same time. They try to get in.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. I totally get it. Just a minor nitpick of mine. That's all.
It's all right. I don't have that much nitpick of this movie, so I'm gonna be the positive one.
My only nitpick is that makes me think of Starship Troopers.
You mean the giant bugs?
Yeah, no, just like it's not a nitpick. It's just like a weird comparison. The uniforms and just like everybody's attitude and the whole progression of events. It's just like, first they're all competent. Look at us, we're cool, we're doing so good, and then all of a sudden when shit hits the fan, everybody starts freaking out. It's like, oh my god, bugs. But in reality, it's just like, I'm getting stabbed in the face. Oh my god.
Oh my god, I had no idea where you were going with that, but then
yeah, right?
I actually completely agree with you. That's kind of how Starship Troopers was. Yeah, they were all gung ho, but then when they land, they get their shit fucked up right away, and then they're all kind of.
And it's even worse because like the uniforms that they're wearing are like fucking almost identical, and it's crazy. Just like it keeps on reminding me of that, and I can't help it. And also it reminds me of Judge Dredd, the remake, came out in, what was it, 2012?
Oh yeah, a lot of people made the comparison.
I bet. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, when Judge Dredd came out, a lot of people were just saying like, "Oh, this is the Raid."
Yeah,
they just
basically.
did the Raid.
I mean, like.
Yeah, that movie also has drugs. It also has, low lives in one building. They're all trapped inside. Almost the same exact plot.
The story is pretty much the same. I enjoy Dredd. It does it, it does it its own way. But I can understand why people.
And it's only 1 year apart in release, so like it kind of makes sense why they would like take something like that, especially with such big success.
No. I thought you were talking about, for a second, I thought you were talking about the Sylvester Stallone version. I was like,
no.
Because that movie also has Rob Schneider? What? I am the law. Anyways. The second half of the hallway fight, we get a little sequence, story-wise in between, but then we get the second part where Now there's more machete-wielding people chasing after Iko inside the hallway, and he goes from one level to a level above, and it starts off with him being bum rushed by some dude just holding him by the waist, and Iko starts elbowing him, and he just shoves him over the side of a railing, and you just see his lifeless body just completely go cold as soon as his back smashes against the railing, on
the floor below.
Underneath. Yeah.
That's such a funny shot.
I know they're trying to make it seem make it look as grotesque as possible, but it's just the way that he lands that looks very cartoony.
Well, it's funny. In the making of, they said they were kind of going for a dark humor with it, and
oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because whenever these kind of big moments happen where somebody gets killed brutally, there is a laughter that elicited from me a few times, especially in this moment where the guy's body literally cracks, his body cracks in half because his spine lands on the edge of this platform. You're just like, ah!
Yeah, when he lands, there's no you would think he would bounce a little bit, but nope. He just lands and he just stay. He's like putty. You just throw on the floor. You're just he just molds to the shape of the railing, and he goes lifeless instantly. Okay. And we get a very elaborate sequence of going on up here too. But I did forget in the last fight scene. I wanted to mention, he did take out a guy by just grabbing his head and just keep on smashing his head against the wall.
Yeah.
Which I think was
that is a funny moment. And they do show it in the trailer too. So.
Oh, they did? Oh, I never saw the trailer.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But here we get my favorite kill in the movie, which is very impractical if you think about it. It's when Iko smashes a guy through a door, and then the door frame for some reason is still there. The base of the door frame, the door itself is still there in place, but it's jaggedy because it's
right. No, I know what you're saying. The bottom of the door frame has become teeth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. It's sharp edges on the
because
floor.
they busted through it. Yeah.
Yeah. But so Iko is blocking some moves, and he grabs a guy by the collar, and he does some sort of, how do you explain this? He splays himself out and
he jumps backwards, pulling the guy forwards.
Yep.
And then pulling the guy onto that jagged door edge.
Neck first into the ground.
Neck first, yep.
Very impractical, a lot of precision, but hey, it's a cool kill.
Yeah, it's a cool kill. I remember watching this in the theater, and everyone was just like, "Oh!"
It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
I suspend all my stupidity points out the window. I just throw it all out the window. It's like it's not even worth it to nitpick it, but it's because it's just.
It's entertaining. That's so like you can't really be mad at it because you want that you want those big kills to denote the fight has now ended, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But that's the highlight of this fight scene, or
the first part of it.
The first part of it, or even the second part of it. But I'm just saying, like that. Even though that's what I want to point out. There's a lot of things that Gareth Evans or the DP are trying to do with the film in terms of like cinematography that I give it a lot of props for. So like we get a lot of overhead shots. Sometimes like I mentioned before about them passing the camera through the floor, but here like Iko will be running. But you'll see a sudden cut to an overhead shot of Iko like exchanging blows with two people who are pincering him in between two sides.
Yeah, that's a great shot. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's really short, but it's like they didn't need to do that at all. But it adds a lot to the film.
It's crazy because I mean, if you think about it, that shot's really great because they completely fill up the frame, making it feel so cramped. Yep. And they're just visually showing you that he is in this fucking tense situation, sandwiched between those two guys fighting for his life.
Yep. Yeah, it's fucking great. I will say though, like the way that he takes on the last machete wielding dude. I know he's like some sort of boss character or mini boss guy.
Yeah, I would say he's like a mini boss.
Yeah, that one didn't really impress me too much. There's really not much I would say about that.
Yeah, that one was just okay. So basically what happens is like the second part of the hallway fight then goes into one of these like apartment rooms. Mm-hmm. And it's now Iko versus this one guy after taking out like the other guys. Mm-hmm. I like that the guy basically threw Iko over his shoulder in one of the moves. And it's great because you can see it's him. You can see that he was taking that fall, and that looked really painful. Yeah. Literally throwing him over his shoulder.
Yeah, I think he flipped him up, like you can see Iko land like belly first into the floor.
Yeah, right in front of the camera.
Right in front of the camera. I like that the movie has a sense of gritty realism to it. I mean, that's the whole point of the violence, but. Every once in a while, the movie does remind me, it's a movie. So the way that Iko takes this guy out, is by ramming him through a window.
Oh, and then they fall down.
They both fall down,
like 3 or 4 stories onto a balcony,
and to a fire escape. And then Iko tries to recollect himself, but then like you see like a whole bunch of bullets flying at him, but they all just coincidentally just miss him. They all end up hitting the railing for some reason.
Which causes him to jump through the window and stand in front of the window to catch his breath.
Yep.
The problem here is we saw earlier a man stood in front of a similar window and he got shot up.
Yep.
Now, I hate nitpicking like this, but the whole time I was like, dude, why is he not getting shot up? Like, why didn't he just like fall to his knees to avoid the gunfire? Like that was one of the things that took me out of it a little bit, because then I started complaining at the screen.
Yeah.
I was like, duck! I was like, duck, man! Yes. They're gonna shoot you, but they didn't.
Drop and roll, pretend to fire.
Right?
I mean, no, this doesn't take any points away from the movie. But it does make me question the logic of it sometimes. And I'm like, okay, well, he could catch his breath on the floor, crawl away, man, crawl away. I remember watching this film with a friend, another Polish friend from high school.
What?
Mark, okay, not you.
Chinese.
He's not even paying attention. So, no, I was watching this film with another friend in the theaters when it came out, and this next scene had like an emotional weight for my friend who was watching at the time, because this is the fight between Joe Taslim, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry, and Yayan, sorry, God, I can't pronounce either name. Mm-hmm. So
this is a great fight.
It is a great fight. It is a very emotionally charged fight.
Oh yeah. Well, they did it. I mean, this kind of happens a lot in other films. It's like, hey, this character is given a lot of dialogue. I wonder what's going to happen to him next.
Yeah. Right. Well, he's okay. So we haven't talked. We basically didn't talk about any characters yet, per se. But the ones you really want to focus on are, from like good guys' point of view, is Iko, obviously, but we also have Joe Taslim, who plays I forget his name, Jaka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like
well, it's weird.
one rank above him.
If you didn't know who Iko Uwais was in terms of his celebrity, you would think that Joe Taslim is the star of this movie. He's the lead, almost.
Oh well, I mean,
yeah, because
up to a certain point.
Okay. So yeah, the movie does start off with Iko's story in the beginning, but like Joe Taslim's character is technically the leader of this SWAT team. Mm-hmm. So like he's kind of the lead, in a sense. And so when this scene happens, like it is kind of emotional because of what ultimately ends up happening.
Yeah, I don't know. Should we spoil it? Yeah, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like just watch it and you'll know. There's a lot of tension that this scene builds up because Yayan plays Mad Dog, who ends up fighting Jaka in this particular scene, and even though Yayan is shorter, he's a smaller frame. He is clearly a better martial artist than Joe is.
Oh man,
and,
that was something I wanted to touch on. Man, Yayan is short. They don't try to frame him like he's big or he's tall or he has an imposing presence. They actually do the opposite of that. They always have the camera over Joe Taslim's shoulder, and it makes Yayan look really small on the screen. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of throws you off when he starts fighting, and you begin to realize, like, oh man, this guy Joe is outmatched.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you didn't really get any scenes, but besides that one that we talked about much earlier, where he didn't really do like too much extensive choreography. Joe isn't really known in this movie to be the martial artist, so it is impressive that he held his own in this film. Like in this one particular fight scene, you still want him to kick ass, but you're only basing that assumption because like you're emotionally attached to the character, right?
I would think that you would assume he's the leader because he has some sort of skills, right?
Yeah, some military training.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I never thought like he couldn't fight him, but then it's just surprising, how it all turns out.
Yeah. Oh, a random piece of trivia. So a lot of apparently some of the cast and crew, the ones who were actually trained to be inside. Well, they're casted to be inside the police uniforms. They actually had to do police training. Just to make sure that they get all the hand signals and whatnot, correct. So yeah, like it adds a lot of validity to the movie, which I like. I like anything that kind of.
Oh yeah, I was watching. They went through boot camp together. I mean, a lot of movies do that so that they try to be as accurate as possible.
But Yayan apparently actually did work for like some sort of Indonesian equivalent of the Secret Service in real life.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's great that he was action choreographer for this because it definitely pays off. But yeah, if we're gonna talk about anyone who's incredibly intimidating and incredibly impressive on screen. Yayan definitely shows that off like twofold, like tenfold maybe. He does this one move in this movie that I think I want to try this one day. If I ever do sparring and I want to like just try it, it's probably very impractical. But what happens is Joe has him in some sort of behind the back, like a headlock kind of thing, or he basically he grips his shoulders so he can't move his arms. So what Yayan does is he grabs Joe's head from behind and he swings both of his knees up to his face.
Oh yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
That is great. I don't know how practical that is, but the fact that
I think you have to be extremely flexible to do that.
Maybe nimble, but yeah,
very nimble. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he immediately follows that up with a wall flip. I didn't even know there were flips in this movie.
The one thing I really liked about this scene is you can see that, like we always mention, like how did the person win the fight? Mm-hmm. And it's very clear here that while Joe is, kind of holding his own for a bit, his moves are pretty sluggish. Like it doesn't even look like he's doing choreography so much. He's on the defensive a lot because Yayan is just using Salat to really literally almost run circles around him.
Yeah. No, that's true. Walter, we got a really good establishment that Joe is trying to use his size to his advantage, right? So he's picking the guy up as easily as he can. He's swinging him across the room, but that doesn't matter because when it comes to sheer skill, Yayan has upper hand here, and also speed. Like he can't hold a candle to his speed. And so don't know if we want to spoil it, but you can clearly tell who's gonna win. And man, the amount of tension that the movie builds to get to that point, it's almost like a cat playing with his meal. It's like he's torturing him.
Right. Well, they do establish that Yayan likes to fight and that he's kind of a killer. So you can kind of tell where it's all going. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty brutal. And you just kind of feel bad because you're like, oh man, it's not even fair anymore.
Yeah. The amount of time it takes for the finishing blow to happen is kind of agonizing. You're like, oh, okay, you kind of want him to escape, but that's not going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great fight, absolutely great fight. I'm glossing over a lot here, but there's just a little bit too much to get into. I think it's such an emotionally charged scene that you need to watch this one within context, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So, that's as far as I can go when it comes to getting really into the weaves and being every fight scene has been amazing. After this point, it starts to go the bar has been set so high that the other two fight scenes aren't as high for me, and I know that's very controversial because a lot of people like the final fight scene, but I'll explain why I'm not 100% on board with that last fight scene a little later. But this next particular fight scene, I'm not too crazy about. It's when Iko is storming this one room with a whole bunch of people
it's
dealing with the narcotics.
The drug lab.
Yeah, the drug lab. Whatever they're dealing right there. I'm assuming this is PCP because
I have no idea what that is.
Mark, you know your recreational drugs, right?
It's white powder, so I'm just going to assume cocaine.
Well, I want to get back to this point later because I think it's important to establish what kind of drug this is, or if that they're using drugs at all. Because, but anyways, so this particular scene, it's organized chaos, or it's just a lot of things happening. Nothing that's really, super noteworthy that I need to like point out. But it's just Iko's taking on people one by one, who are approaching him like on top of the table, off the table. Nothing like it doesn't have that trademark violence until like much later in the fight scene. And that's what I got accustomed to in this movie. So
right. Well, if you look back and watch this fight, you'll notice there's actually a lot more choreography going on.
Yeah.
Like not as much. I mean, they still are doing like the killing blows, but you'll actually get a lot of hand-to-hand stuff for a decent amount of time before somebody like hits somebody and like maybe they smack their head like at the edge of the table, or they do a throw and they like, you know, break their spine. So there aren't as many killing moves in this scene, but I don't know. I kind of like this because I liked seeing a little more choreography from everyone. It's the one thing that's a shame in the scene is there's like a third fighter who you have no idea who this person really is. So you get the old man, right? The old man with the white hair. Visually, you know him because he's got the white hair. But there's this second guy there, and the whole time I'm like, I don't know who you are. But he's a pretty decent fighter. I think they said he had like a Taekwondo background, so they develop his choreography around that. So you can see like a lot of his stuff has a lot of kicks in it and whatnot. But the thing that sucks is he's there, but I have no idea who he is. So it's like, you know, who is this person? Why are you rooting for him? And that can take you out of it.
Yeah. That's true. Well, he's the survivor. He's the surviving cop.
Yeah, but he like had no lines. You know, we never got any sense of his character. So that's why it's a shame, because, you know, like we know Iko, we know his story. Like I feel like we didn't get anything for him.
Yeah, that's true.
Like this is the first time I'm recognizing him, and it's because I have to go back and rewatch the fights. You know? So when you go back, I'm like, all right, well, who is that guy?
The point of this character is to assist the sergeant and then be a sacrificial lamb at the very last second. That's it.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's the whole point of this character. The point of this fight scene is to establish that Iko can take on multiple people at once. And to your point before, where you mostly see Iko take on two people at a time, here it's like, there really shouldn't be any reason why Iko isn't getting like just completely piled on by people.
Exactly.
They're all in the room.
Yeah. There are a lot of people in this room.
Yeah.
And there are times you can see them in the background too. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Stop packaging the drugs and help your buddies out.
Yeah. This set piece, I'm not all like too crazy about. If I rewatch this film, like yeah, sure, I'll watch it, but then I'm not like rooting to watch this one particular fight scene again. There's clearly better ones.
Right. This is one of the fight scenes that feels a little bit like a filler fight. Like they are going from point A to point B, and in between they have to add something. They just have another fight to throw in there. Yeah. Like in terms of story wise, like, this is inconsequential. Maybe if they said something like, oh, we need to destroy the drug lab, then sure, like I would have been okay with this. But they just happen to stumble upon this drug lab, and now they're just fighting, and now they're smashing people's faces into the PCP. Right.
Well, that might power them up. I don't know. I think that's how PCP works, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't power them up.
Oh man, so the next fight scene is what I really want to talk about,
and this is technically the last one.
This is the last one, the last fight scene. I think I lied. I don't even know if I actually definitively said I have no nitpicks with the movie. This is the only nitpick I don't like about the movie. The last fight scene is not as great as I remember it to be. And anyone who says that this final fight scene is the best one of the film, I think that's definitely not my taste, and it's only ruined by one thing. It is a 2-on-1 fight where the handicap is in favor of the protagonist, and I
that
don't
usually
like that.
never happens.
I don't like
Well,
that.
okay, no, actually, that's not true. That does actually happen a bunch, but I don't like when that happens. Is kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's basically Iko and his brother versus Yayan.
Oh, his brother's in the movie.
And well, so you know what they were trying to do, and I realized this after we were watching it, is I think they were trying to balance out that handicap of the 2x1 by having Yayan literally pounding on his brother, like punching him in the sides and in the stomach and stuff.
Yeah,
like he was a piece of meat, like because he literally had him hung up on some chains.
Yeah, well, okay. He also had his hand stabbed through, and I guess you can give the excuse that what's his face has been that Iko has been like battered and fighting his way through hell this entire movie. Sure, but I gotta say it's very unsatisfying when the main characters win because it doesn't feel earned. It's like they kind of tag teamed against this one guy. So
Well, sorry. I was just going to say that I think what they did is they set up how much of a threat he was when Yayan fights Joe. So now maybe what they're trying to say is like, okay, maybe Iko couldn't take him on by himself, so he has to have the assist from his brother.
I don't like that.
Yeah, this is me making, connecting the dots in my head.
Sure.
But I'm in agreement with you where I wasn't crazy about this fight. I like a lot of the choreography, but I think in terms of the story, I don't buy, or not that I don't buy, like I don't like that they made it a 2-on-1.
Yeah. It kind of undercuts how skilled of a martial artist the main character is when you make it that he has to win with needing assistance,
Maybe if his brother came in like later, like he eventually was able to get out of the chains and then provide the assist for like the finishing blow. But the fact that Yayan's like, wait, let me stand in between you two so we can get good shot composition, and now let's fight. It's like, how do you not win against that?
Where's the camera? Okay, I need a pose to the camera.
Exactly.
Okay, so the whole drug question I asked before is like, I guess you can give the excuse that because the villain is high on PCP, if it is PCP, apparently, through my cop friends, PCP makes you like invulnerable, and that's not exaggeration. Like it
yeah, no, I hear that a lot too.
Yeah, but at the same time, like cinematically, I don't like it that a 2-on-1 fight, they're still getting their asses handed to them.
Right. I don't know. So basically, in terms of the story, I'm not crazy about how they set up the fight. But if you go back and rewatch it by itself, I do like the choreography a lot. I think they did a decent job at making it so that they try to gang up on Yayan's character, but he really is just so skilled because he's able to kind of separate them enough so that they both can't attack him at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he's just too fast. He's too skilled.
Yeah. I guess this is me like taking enough sparring and stuff to like get kind of nitpicked again. But there's a moment where they're all on the floor, either through just like through exchange of blows, like they're all like on the floor simultaneously. So Iko's brother grabs Yayan by like the collar of his shirt, or like he basically just like puts his body on top of him, but like he doesn't have any sort of good hold over him, and Iko grabs him by the sleeve of his pants, and I'm thinking like that's not gonna do anything. Like you gotta like grab his legs. Like, if you grab his pants, he's just gonna slither around and kick you in the face, and that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did.
Well, when you're in the heat of a fight, you're probably not making the most intelligent decision, but that's what you get. You get kicked in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, well, okay, yeah, but we do have a lot of good fight choreography here. I'm pretty sure that they padded the floor. With I didn't see any of the behind the scenes or anything like that, but like a lot of the throws to the ground that you see in this movie, they are look very
there's
visceral.
a moment where they literally like kind of pick up Yayan and kind of toss him on the ground, and he just lands like face first, hands first,
Yep.
and you're just like, ugh. It actually happens a lot to him in this scene, and it doesn't look like it's padded unless, I mean, it is painted, so they might have did a good job painting. But it looks like it's just like some random concrete room.
Yeah. Well, what they say at least in Hollywood productions is, they paint. They have like some sort of material that they put some tarp over it, but it's technically soft, right? But looking at this movie, I can't tell. The movie has a like color grade of navy blue and black. Those are the two colors in this
like
movie.
Grays, and then the dirty browns in the hallway.
Yeah, you can't make out. There's a good contrast, but at the same time, like I can't make out the contours of the floor when they're slamming on it. So
I mean, it's good production design too, though. Like, this is an Indonesian production. They don't have the budgets that we do, so like with what they did, it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I can see when it's a set, obviously, but to make it all come together and feel like this one building, I thought they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, for sure. This final scene, it's essentially like how can the main two characters triumph over this one drugged up maniac, and it's just like a free for all, essentially, right? So but I never really got the sense that they wouldn't win just because there's two of them.
I mean, they're the heroes. They're gonna win. Yeah. Maybe if one of them died, that would have been like a little more satisfying.
Like a Quan Jin and Obi-Wan thing versus Darth Maul.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, no.
Yeah, I would have liked that a lot better if one of them died. But yeah, they eventually finally are able to just incapacitate him. And one of the things I liked about the fights in this movie, and even this goes back to the fight with Yayan and Joe, is that everyone actually does get tired towards the end of the fight. Like you can see people kind of getting fatigued because there's a lot of choreography going on, and especially in this fight. The way they do it is smart because it does turn into them kind of rolling around on the ground, and they're just really struggling, throwing these kind of wild hits because they're literally just trying to kill this guy now.
Right. They skip cardio day. They shouldn't do that. But yeah, it's that's what I was saying before about the whole like fantastical realism kind of thing, or like movie realism thing. It's like, yeah, sure, it's still a movie, but like they're still trying to ground some of the violence in reality. So that's what's gonna happen when you fight the entire time, like the entire night. You're gonna be winded by the end of it.
But I appreciate that they kind of threw that in. Like you don't see that too much, where the fighters get fatigued by the end. Like that's not. I feel like that's something that movie magic tries to hide, in a way.
Right. They're going for that gritty realism too. So, and the way that the Mad Dog Yayan gets taken out. People were cheering on in my movie theater. They're cheering, but also like I think they're like applauding the screen because it was like a morbid laughter. They're like anxious laughter because it's so grotesque. It's just what is it, like a light bulb to the neck? Yeah.
So basically, what happened is they kick one of the fluorescent lights out from the ceiling. Fixture above them. And they stab him in the neck with it, which is cool, but doesn't fucking kill him.
No.
And That's when my eyes just rolled out of my head. I was like, come on, man. Come on.
But it's not okay, so this is the part where I'm confused. So the initial stab doesn't kill him, and so Iko gets him into a certain body position, so now he can grab that bulb and then slice it across his throat. But I'm wondering, how deep was that bulb, that shard of glass into his neck? It doesn't look that deep.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look that deep. Yeah, it doesn't work. You just kind of have to buy it because movie magic.
Hey, on screen it looks great. It's a great death. It's fucking fantastic.
It's a great death, but the problem is he should have been killed with the first stab.
Yeah.
The fact that he wasn't, I was like, oh, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, watching it again on my screen, I didn't see any blood coming out the other end of the glass when once he got stabbed. But I remember watching in the theater, and I remember he was rolling around in pain. He was like, I got stabbed in the fucking neck. And
no, he gets up and he's just like, I'm still alive.
Yeah, he's still doing that. But then as he's fighting what the fucking thing stuck in his neck, you still see blood spurting out of it.
Yeah.
I remember.
It is.
It is?
It
Okay.
really
Maybe
is.
my TV sucks, but I remember watching.
No,
the
blood
theater.
is squirting out of it. It's very, very silly. And the fact that he is continuing to fight with it, and he's still almost beating them.
Yeah.
It's only until they finally gang up on him and then slit his throat with it that it's over. I remember in the theater, I said to my friend, I was like, if he fucking gets up, I'm just gonna lose it.
Stay dead.
Yes.
It's like a horror movie kind of kill. That's how much I love it. It reminds me of Kevin Bacon when he gets stabbed through the neck.
Oh, and yeah, Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
right.
Damn, that's it's a great way to end the final fight of the movie. It still feels kind of unearned, but whatever. And it's surprisingly enough, as even though we're ending the raid in terms of the discussion, the way that this movie ends leads directly into the raid 2, which I would love to talk about one day because it's one of those few instances where I like the sequel more than the original, but I still love the original.
Yeah, it's like Alien to Aliens. The sequel is very, very good, but the original is still very, very good too.
Yeah.
So
I
agree.
Yeah, but I'm gonna stop there when it comes to. And I'm not gonna talk about the raid 2 because I can talk about that for 2 hours.
Save it for that one. Yeah.
So that's the raid. Fucking amazing movie.
I was very surprised because, as I mentioned earlier, I just thought it was okay when I first watched it, but I wasn't reviewing films or anything like that or looking at the fights with a critical eye like I do now. So after rewatching it, I was like, wow, I was pleasantly surprised. It was like I couldn't appreciate it when I was younger because I just didn't have that sort of mentality for it. But watching it now, I was like, oh, this is good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. It's been 9 years since this movie came out. Unfortunately, Gareth Evans hasn't announced if he wants to do a third raid movie, which assuming that we ever get out of this fucking quarantine, and Indonesia gets out of this quarantine, I would love to see them try for a third one, because
it's a shame because the second one, it doesn't really feel like an ending. It feels like a kind of a cliffhanger. Yeah. So the fact that nothing has come or been said of it is very, very disappointing. Yeah. As a fan, it's disappointing.
Yeah. Iko, no more Wu Assassins. No more.
Oh God, please no. I will be upset if that gets greenlit for a second season.
I thought it did.
Because did it? Oh, fuck no.
Right. So I can't even say any more about like if I recommend it or not. Like it's so obvious. I would. I don't think you need to. I mean, yeah, you could totally watch the fight scenes alone, assuming that YouTube would even allow you to, because the movie's so violent, they probably wouldn't even have it on YouTube.
Pretty sure it's on there.
Well, if it is, you could do that. But I highly recommend watching the movie, not just the fight scenes. It's not...
Right.
I mean, yeah, the movie's so simple in terms of plot, but it's just, you're in it for the ride. You feel like you're with the characters. When you take that element out of it, you're not experiencing it the way that you should be, you know. I completely agree. I was going to say my recommendation was don't watch the fights online. I mean, they're good. There is a lot of really good choreography, but the fact that they're actually pretty well integrated into the story, so you care about the characters, you feel the pacing and you feel the tension when the fights happen, you're kind of losing something. So I would recommend the movie, yes, to watch and, like rewatch the fights after watching the movie. Yeah. Mark, what is your thought?
Yeah, no, I'm getting so much lag you would not believe. I've just decided to like shut my mouth forever because if this would have been like a half an hour longer if I try to speak for most of it. But recommendations?
Right, we need to get you the FiOS.
What?
What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
thoughts?
Great movie, unique style.
Hello? I'm just fucking with you now.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Great movie. Yeah. Fantastic. Very much a recommend. Unique style, unique approach, not only in story, but filming style, martial arts, close quarters, combat within very narrow, tight spaces, interesting kind of scene progression throughout. A lot of current TV shows and films take a lot of examples from The Raid and incorporate it. Everything like I've mentioned before, Judge Dredd, and then more modern stuff like Daredevil on the Netflix series. There's a lot of just similar kind of action, and there's a really big appeal because you can see yourself getting into a fight in like a staircase with somebody. It's very, very real world, very kind of organic, and
I definitely see
what
the
would you
appeal
do
of
in that
doing
situation if you had no, weapons and all you had was your fists? I mean, clearly you'd break a fucking halogen lamp and stab it into somebody's neck, but we have LEDs now, so I don't know about that. Fantastic. Won't nitpick too much.
We're green that way.
Yeah. Won't nitpick too much, but all
right. Well.
Yeah, definitely recommend it.
We'll save your nitpicking for when you get better internet.
Yeah.
Oh man. Here's a point I wanted to bring. I didn't bring up before, but I thought you would have actually, Mark. Was the music in this movie is so.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's so the American score was done by Mike Shinoda and Joe Trapanese or Trapanese. I don't know how to pronounce it. Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park fame. And I love this score, actually. I went and got it afterwards because I forgot how much I liked it.
Yeah, it's
very electronic, very driving.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
It adds so much to every scene. Like, you can feel the tension and everything. But I think that's only for the U.S. release. I think for the initial.
Yes.
I don't know who worked on the original, unfortunately. But if
some Indonesian artists, and I wish I could hear the original. I would like to hear what they did with it. But like the American score it's perfect. It's really great.
Yeah, so much tension to it. Oh my god, I can't praise this movie enough. It's so good, and this is the movie I'll be watching for the rest of this quarantine to remind me that what it's like to be trapped in a building for.
Well, hopefully you don't have to fight your way out.
I mean,
a little.
I mean, depending on like how many toilet paper is left.
A little grassroots project, a little movie in Will's complex, maybe.
Oh, we should do a movie all remote.
Except we got to do it just like one shot of the dead, just one continuous, Japanese style fucking shot.
How's that gonna work? No, thank you.
No,
I do have all the time in the world, but yeah.
Yes, watch the movie. The Raid is a very, very high recommend.
Yes. And Gareth Evans, if you're listening, Raid 3, get on it. Fucking.
He was like, "Oh, I didn't know. Thanks for reminding me, Will."